Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today's video is sponsored by HelloFresh, the food delivery service that brings pre-portioned, fresh ingredients right to your doorstep so you can prepare a meal in about 30 minutes. So we are coming into the busy holiday season, so why not let HelloFresh help you out with their quick and easy options like their 20-minute meals and easy cleanup recipes. It's so great to not have to think about recipe planning, and it's so great to be able to save trips to the grocery store with pre-portioned ingredients that arrive right to your doorstep. And every week HelloFresh offers 35 recipes to choose from. There's tons of variety, and there are family friendly, fit and wholesome, and veggie options as well. Plus, you can customize your own box. If you want to swap out sides or add extra protein, that's no problem. And if you're traveling for the holidays, HelloFresh makes it super easy to change your preferences or your address or your delivery dates with a few simple clicks. This week, my family's favorite meal was the zucchini and tomato flatbreads. So if you'd like to try HelloFresh for yourself, click the link down below or go to hellofresh.com and use my code emmymade18 to receive 18 free meals and free shipping. Big thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video and for their continued support so I can make better videos for all of you. So today, my lovelies, I'm going to be making a recipe that seems super appropriate for the holidays. It screams elegance, yet it has a beautiful kind of simplicity, and of course it contains chocolate. I am going to be making Julia Child's Queen of Sheba cake, and in French it's called the Reine du Saba. My apologies for my terrible French. It comes from this lovely book, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. This is Julia Child's famous tome. This is from the first book. There are two books in the set. This is written by Julia Child, Louisette Barthol, and Simone Beck, and this is a classic. I have made a few recipes from this. I think the first one I made was so many years ago. I made a coq au vin. And some of these recipes are pretty technique heavy because this is traditional French cookery. Julia holds a special place in my heart, as does Jacques Pepin. I watched a lot of her on PBS with my mother and my brother on the weekends. She was such a great combination of mentorship yet accessibility in the home kitchen, yet a level of professionalism as well, but it still felt accessible somehow, or attemptable. At any rate, let's keep her spirit alive today by making her Queen of Saba cake from Mastering the Art of French Cooking. It is the Reine du Saba, and you're supposed to bake this so the center remains slightly underdone, and so that has a kind of creamy quality to it. I suspect you can melt your chocolate in the microwave, but I'm going to follow Julia's instructions and do it in double boiler. I've got some semi-sweet chocolate that I've chopped up and some coffee. Julia says you can also do rum if you like. And we're just gonna let this sit until everything melts together. Bum, bum, bum. This is an 8-inch cake pan, and liberally rub it with butter. Find it helps if your butter is at room temperature. We're adding a little bit of flour, and then we just shake it around and make sure it goes up on the sides as well. Take this over to the trash can and give it a good bang so that the excess flour is removed. Ta-da! Our prepared buttered and floured pan. And you could do this in a stand mixer as well, but I think this will be simpler. 1 stick of room temperature butter. Loop. And I like to scrape the paper because look how much is on there. And then we're going to cream this till it's light and fluffy, and we're going to add 2/3 of a cup of just plain old sugar. Oh my gosh, I have butter and sugar everywhere. Wonderful. I should be using a bigger bowl. You think after all these years of cooking and making things I would know that, but some things don't change, right? Silly. Use the appropriate size bowl, okay? Don't be lazy, because it's just going to be a pain later. We're going to be adding more ingredients to this. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. So just wash the extra bowl. Or better yet, next time, use the right size bowl and you won't have to wash an extra bowl, right? Yeah, someday I'll learn. So much better, so much better. To our fluffy butter and sugar, we're going to add 3 egg yolks, one at a time. How sunny those egg yolks are, so cute. Oh. The girls decided to both jump in there, but I think we're gonna be okay. Now we are done with this portion. We are going to clean off our beaters till they're nice and squeaky clean, because now we're going to beat some egg whites. And if we have any grease on these little mixer whiskey things, our egg whites will not beat up as nicely. I have the whites from those 3 egg yolks. And in my experience and from what I've read, when your egg whites are at room temperature, they are easier to whip up into peaks. Bloop, kosher salt. And then beat these to soft peaks. I'm gonna be quiet for this part. Here we go. La, la. All right, look at that. Now we are going to add a little bit of sugar, just sprinkled gently on top. And now we're going to beat this to stiff peaks, but be careful not to overbeat it. We don't want the foam to start separating. If it starts getting grainy, you've gone too far. So watch it. I think we're just about there. We're going to take the egg mixture that we had earlier, add the chocolate and coffee. And we're just going to combine that. Now we're adding some almond flour. This is just ground up almonds. Just a little smidge of almond extract. Work that in there. I'm so glad I switched to a bigger bowl to be able to stir with this kind of freedom. I'm growing up. Okay, now we're going to add a quarter of this fluffy meringue that we made. And this will lighten the batter. The batter is pretty thick right now, so we don't have to worry about getting rid of too much of that air or the volume of the egg whites, because the purpose of adding this part of it is just to lighten the batter, so it'll be easier to incorporate the rest of it. Next, I've got some cake flour. I'm gonna add some of that to this, and we're gonna alternate the additions of the flour to the remaining egg whites. So add some of that in there and gently fold it in. I'm just folding it and then lifting it over the top. Now we're going to transfer this to our prepared pan and spread it around. And then we're going to pop this into a preheated 350-degree oven and bake for about 25 minutes. The outer 2 or 3 inches of the cake should be set, and the middle should be slightly jiggly. And if we put a cake tester in the middle of the cake, it should come out clean but oily. We're going to let it cool for 10 minutes before we invert it onto a rack, and then we must let it cool completely before we ice it. Alrighty, my lovelies, here is the baked cake. I went ahead and made a little platform for my cake. I took a piece of corrugated cardboard, traced my pan, cut that out, and then wrapped it in a little bit of gold paper that I happen to have. You can use foil. I find it's an easier way to transport cakes, and I want to put sliced almonds around the edge of this cake, so this way it makes it a lot easier to handle. You do not have to do this step if you don't want to. And we are going to melt some more chocolate. Once again, add some coffee or rum. I'm opting for coffee. Bloop. And once the chocolate is melted, we can start adding our butter, 1 tablespoon at a time. And once we've incorporated all the butter, you can see it's very liquidy, completely dissolved and melted. Now we're going to cool it down in an ice water bath. Now, I've seen some recipes for this cake pouring something that's very glazy and liquidy on top of this cake. But what Julia instructs is to make it a spreadable consistency. The butter is going to re-solidify, and then we're going to have something that's more like a frosting in consistency. Here's a little story time. So this beautiful cake that I just made, I spent much of this day making this cake. So I was letting this cake cool outside because here in New England, winters are pretty cool, and I was sweeping off the porch. I had the cake covered with a little colander, but the wind could blow on it to cool it off. And then I thought, if I take that colander off, I bet it will cool off faster. I'm standing right here, chickens won't get to it. So I'm sweeping the porch, watching my cake cool. Turn around, check out the yard, turn back, and there is a squirrel right to get into my cake. It didn't get into the cake, but it was right on the cake. So I had my cake sitting on a little stump that I have outside of my porch, and it was right on the stump, and it was just about to go. And I said, hey, scare the crap out of that thing, but it didn't eat my cake, thank goodness. Moral of the story, put the colander on your cake, be patient, let it cool. Don't let the critters get your cake, because that would be bad. Within minutes, we have a beautiful, spreadable icing. Now we're going to add this right on top of that. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, yes. Get in on that. So we're going to use some sliced almonds and stick them to the side. A lot of them are going to fall, but that's okay. You can reuse them. See, I'm going to just stick them. All right, my lovelies, look at my beautiful cake. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Simple elegance. All right, let's give it a slice. Ooh. Julia said that it should just be creamy in the middle. And yeah. Ooh. Itadakimasu. Mmm. Mmm. So good. As most of you know, I am a huge fan of chocolate, dark chocolate in particular. And I usually don't like my chocolate adulterated too much, you know? I don't really like fruit additions or so on and so forth, you know? I'm just like chocolate. Milk, yes, sugar, yes, but pretty simple. This little bit of almond in here is so nice. I also have a thing against almond, a little bit. Almond extract in particular. I feel like sometimes it's just so heavy-handed. It's just so overpowering. But that little 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract in here is so lovely. It goes so nicely with the chocolate and the coffee flavors. It does not overpower and definitely complements. Such a great combination. Texture, lovely. And Julia is 100% right. The middle has kind of a creamy texture, not fudgy. It's still light. It's not dense. It's got a lightness and kind of an airiness to it, but it's not quite cake-like either. Like a fluffy sheet cake, for example. It doesn't have that texture. The crumb is unique. It's tight and moist. It's a little bit more like a chiffon cake. Fantastic. Love this cake. We'll 100% make this again. Not only do I enjoy the kind of aesthetic look of the sliced almonds, contrasting this beautiful dark ganache top, I also like the texture. It offers a kind of flaky, soft crunch. Goes really nicely with the cake. Real good. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. The stunning queen of Sheba cake, or the Reine du Saba cake. Fantastic. Highly recommend this one. If you want to see more Julia recipes, let me know down in the comments below, and let me know what particular recipe you are interested in. Thanks so much for watching, and big thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to try HelloFresh for yourself, click the link down below or go to HelloFresh.com and use my code emmymade18 to receive 18 free meals and free shipping. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Kept that one to myself, you know, we're in the presence of a very elegant cake here. Nom, 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 nom.